Hello guys, it's Gcse Revision here, bringing you another video, this time to do with the English language course, and we're going to be looking at the short novel written by John Steinbeck called Of Mice and Men. I believe this is a written text, and for some of you, you'll be doing some controlled assessment written work on this, so I thought it'd be a good idea to start a series of videos looking at chapter summaries, context, things about the characters, sort of themes in the novel and things like that, so that it can help you out in your exams and any coursework you have. Right, so today we're going to be looking at the context. About the author, John Steinbeck. Steinbeck was born in Salinas, California, and that was where the novel was based upon. He had first-hand experience and worked on many neighbouring ranches when he worked there in the summer. And in the ranches, he met people that inspired him to write the book. Even Lenny is based on a character that he met in one of the ranches. He was always politically involved at the time, and he wrote many books about the plight of Californian labouring class, including The Dubious Battle, Of Mice and Men, and The Grapes of Wrath, all written within the 1930s and early 1940s. Now, you don't really need to know about why he was politically correct at the time, but as an extension task you may like to search that, although it's not necessary when you have to write about the novel. When the novel was set. Steinbeck set Of Mice and Men against the backdrop of the Great Depression in America. It had to do with the economic conditions at the time which victimized workers like George and Lenny, who are the novel's protagonists. The Great Depression began in the 1930s, and I'll be talking about that later at the time. Now, the economic conditions greatly affected George and Lenny and prevented them from achieving their dream, which is the main theme in the novel. The Great Depression was started by the stock market crash caused in 1929. It was also known as Black Tuesday. Historic occurrences. The Dust Bowl was a 7-year-long drought which started in 1931 that made it difficult to retain a job. Certain characters feel insecure about their disposability, seeing as the Dust Bowl prevented a lot of fertile soil at the time to become infertile. This affected a lot of area in central states in America, such as Oklahoma, although it did not affect California, and this made it look like the promised land. It attracted a lot of workers who went there. A lot of these workers increased productivity and jobs in farms, which led farmers to then invest in more technology, such as tractors and extractors in their farm, so that they can make more money. However, because of the economic depression, also known as the Great Depression of America at the time, the people who bought their produce could either no longer pay for it because it was too expensive, or not buy it at all altogether and had to move on to cheaper supplies. This then made the farmers at the time, have to sack a lot of their workers, which makes the characters feel more disposable, and then the banks had to write off their land so that they could try and get money back from all the loans that they took out to buy the technology in the first place. Discrimination. Blacks were segregated at the time as they didn't have the same rights that we had now in today's society, and they were seen as the bottom of society then. Also, because it was the 1930s, women didn't have equal rights to men, and when it came to voting and working, they were seen inferior at the time. Also, people with disabilities did not get preferential treatment, and this is especially true in ranches. Since there weren't many laws to protect people who did have disabilities, they were forced to work under horrible conditions, such as in the ranches, as you'll see in the book, where characters such as Crooks and Candy can't work very well. What the novel shows. Steinbeck portrays how challenging and unrewarding the life of a farm worker may be. At the time, plain workers also dreamt of owning land just like George and Lenny, and finding it in the promised land of California. The mild climate promised a longer growing season with soil, which made it easier to make crops to harvest. This way, people who at the time were known as bindle workers, because they carried bindles on their backs, today they're known as backpackers, went there to try and make money, and with the money try and buy their own land and pursue a dream of happiness. However, because of the economic and physical environment, they weren't able to do so, and that is a relevant theme which George and Lenny do come across in the book. Now, despite these promises, they found the opportunity that they had, but George and Lenny, the two protagonists, moved from ranch to ranch within the novel, and you'll see why in later videos. Right, thank you guys for listening to this video, and please like and subscribe so you can carry on seeing the rest of the series and then go for as high grade as possible in your written exam for Of Mice and Men. I'll also be writing some chapter summaries, looking at some of the characters, possibly some of the themes as well, and then also probably showing how to write a good example of what an essay should look like for this Of Mice and Men written task, which I'll be giving a title for and all the time needed, so that when it does come to you, you can see how to do it and then hopefully do it well. So I hope you've taken notes and enjoyed this video. Until next time.